Because we haven't answered that question. What do you say to people who are in counseling today because they have
Mhm.
PTSD from air horn going for 3 weeks and they think
Yeah,
that they're,
yeah,
all the shit that happened
yeah.
because that was an occupation, wasn't a protest. You were, and I think people want to hear that part. Like, what
Yeah.
is it that you would say to these people who are really suffering to this day because of what it is that you guys decided to do? And
Mhm.
then the last part of that question, what would
Yeah.
you say to them? And whose idea was it to blare the horns?
The horns were honking by the time I arrived, and they were there for probably 3 days after I got there. So, and then there was an injunction. A
Yeah.
judge, Justice McLean, declared that the horns had to stop.
Yeah.
I was in meetings with the Ottawa Police. They were trying to negotiate us down to 1 hour a day. And I looked at it as a bargaining chip, to be honest, with them, to get other concessions, like getting them to allow us to clean out the porta potties that we rented, so that we
Those
could
porta potties
actually.
were full, huh?
They were getting full, and you know what? The Ottawa Police never allowed us to get them to go clean them, right? So we were making
That makes
alternate
me
arrangements.
laugh. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It makes me
yeah.
laugh.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, they did everything in their power to not
Yeah.
let us get those porta potties cleaned, right?
Yeah.
We rented
But
them.
what do you say? But what do you say? What do you
Yeah.
say to Paul? Wait, Paul's in front of you. I'm Paul,
Okay.
and I'm like,
All right.
dude, I'm in counseling today because I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. What do
Well,
you say
then
to
I'm
him?
gonna. If you're Paul, or whoever Paul is, I'm gonna say, you know what,
Paul
Paul?
Atkinson?
Paul. I just don't believe you. I literally don't
Oh.
believe you, because after that horn injunction was put in place, I would say 95% of the time we abided by it. Now, we couldn't control every single trucker. I mean, these are owner operators of trucks that come in. They came in, they're in charge of themselves. Like, that's the reality, right? So we did everything in our power to police it. In fact, there was a guy who refused to comply with everything. We had them surrounded. There was a bunch of truckers that decided, you know what? If you don't stop the horn, we're actually going to disconnect your horn from your truck. This was truckers policing other truckers because of the injunction. We agreed. We had a legal injunction, so we abided by it. It was ruled. But that same judge, Justice McLean, also ruled that we had a legal right to be there. And that was the thing. And that never changed. We had a legal right from an actual judge, an Ontario Superior Court judge. Justice McLean said, yeah, you got a legal right to be there, but stop the horns. So we said, okay, we'll stop the horns, right? We worked with the cops every single day. I must have had 10 meetings a day, either on phone, text, or in person with the police and various members as well.
Quick question about the cops.
Yeah.
How many, let's say you talked to 10 a day, how many were sympathetic to the convoy, do you think?
I stuck to the
5?
regular ones. No, there was lots, because like the police,
10?
the Ottawa
5
Police
out of
and the
10? 10 out
protective
of
team.
10? 8 out of 10?
I wish I could give you a number. Honestly, I can't
A
give you a
lot?
number on that. A lot of them, but like that was a lot of the feedback we got, is that actually the police were really pretty decent on the street right up until, let's say, the last 4 or 5 days, when things just started to change in their demeanor, because they got their marching orders. They knew they were going to come in and start going after people, especially when they invoked the Emergency Act, and then all the good ones even. But what a lot of people don't know is a lot of the Ottawa Police and other police jurisdictions that showed up refused to go to Ottawa. They said, I'm not going to Ottawa. I'm not going against those people. And if you try to send me downtown, I'm going on vacation. I'm not doing what you're asking me to do, or I'm taking a sick leave, or whatever it is. So this is the thing.
There was another story that came out too last week, Tom. I don't know if you read it, of RCMP officers that were trying to assess, the issue and assess how to fix the issue at the convoy. They wouldn't share information readily with certain RCMP officers who were incredibly sympathetic to the movement, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, we knew that there was people, but we weren't actively trying to compromise those people. I mean, they had their job to do. And I mean, we had people on our that were retired military, retired police. It's not like we were trying to compromise. I mean, I remember being in a specific meeting saying, we're not going to compromise the integrity of the police. They still have to go back to work and face their peers. We're not going to get them to turn on their brotherhood, right? We're not, that's not what we're about. Mm-hmm. But, the reality is, we literally, and I don't care what the mainstream media lies about, but I can tell you for a fact, we fed homeless people. We did first aid. We cleaned the streets. We did garbage collection. I can guarantee absolute certainty that we put safety lanes in place on every single road. Every single road. We always made sure emergency services could get there. And we told the cops daily, look, we're about being safe. We're about being responsible. We actually, some of our truckers did first aid on somebody who OD'd, and we were there and administered first aid, got them there. A lady fell, slipped on the ice. We actually got her to the ambulance. We stabilized her until the ambulance could come and get her. We were doing a lot of stuff in that city that the mainstream media lies about. And, it's just not like this whole idea about we were trying to burn down a building was the most absurd lie ever told by the media, probably, because they already retracted it. The Ottawa police came out and said, yeah, actually that never happened. It had nothing to do with the convoy. It was an isolated incident with one crazy guy.
Yeah.
Right. It had nothing to do with us.
Yeah, and there's competing reports. They said the people that tried to light the building on fire were not associated with the convoy. They were taking advantage of the opportunity, right?
Yeah. So
and had that opportunity not been there, might not have tried to burn the building down. But that's another story, and I don't want to get into the weeds.
Yeah.